Welcome to the Salt Labyrinth podcast, where we follow our whims, specifically, and talk about comics. This time we're talking about Uncanny X-Force issues 5 to 7 and 5.1.
Yeah.
Of Uncanny X-Force written by Rick Bender.
Yeah.
And there are a couple artists on this volume. So what'd you think, Ben? What are your thoughts?
Cool shit. It was good. I was pretty confused.
Fair.
I mean, just because they're pulling a lot, and I'm like, I got no fucking idea. Like, there's half robot heroes, but they're not, but they're bad, and then a robot shows up and he's good, and I couldn't discern why. And then even later, I'm like, wait, is he actually bad? But then it turns out a different robot had done like a misdirection thing, and there was a lot.
There was a lot. There was an evil Phantom X who did an evil misdirection on Phantom X.
Yeah, and regular Phantom X was like, man, never been misdirected before. That's no fun.
That's no good.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's just, it's classic X-Men story of the dark future coming to murder them.
I mean, okay, so they got, they like, I guess Phantom X and who the hell was the robot, the cyborg that was like good? Was that?
That's Deathlock.
That's just actually Deathlock?
That is the character Deathlock, yeah.
Okay.
He's like RoboCop, kind of.
They were all Deathlock. They kept saying Deathlock.
They're all Deathlocks.
But he's
Deathlock.
But he's the Deathlock. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not fucking like, I don't know if they said that. If they did, I didn't get it.
Well, because the thing with Deathlock is, like, his physical body is of I forgot if he's like a serial killer. Like, he's a really evil person, but it's the machine part of him is in control, and is like theoretically good or whatever, but maybe not as good as you would want.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So they brought him and Phantom X brought back like evil Robo Captain America, and they managed to get him like. Did they like bypass the cyborg stuff? So it was like his actual brain or whatever, like telling them what the fuck was happening in his future, in his timeline, right?
I think.
And he's like, it's bad, but like it created a utopia or whatever. Like, things are better without us. And I mean, I can't because you never, with these bad guys, like sometimes they like to say there's that impression. I couldn't tell if that was true or not, because like, if it's true that a utopia is set up, like that's certainly a moral conundrum, But they're always saying it's a utopia.
They're always saying it's a utopia.
If you trust every
literally the place where the X-Men live now is called Utopia, but it's just a fucking asteroid sitting off the coast of
that also confused the
San
shit
Francisco.
out of me. They're like, they're taking
it's called Utopia.
They're putting out a portal to Utopia. I'm like, that sounds cool though. Like, that sounds fine.
It's just where the majority of mutants live.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a thing. But like, once stuff got up and going, like, it was pretty fucking solid. I like that we kind of had the dark world stuff, like the evil twin kind of deal. Everybody's fighting themselves. Mm-hmm. So that was neat. I thought Deadpool's bit was pretty good. where he's like falling into the father's bullshit, but then he takes it too far, and he's like, "What the fuck?" and that like
That
rips
sounds
him out
pretty
of
bad, actually.
He's like, you know, there's a fine line between loving father and creepy uncle. I don't want you kissing me and tucking me in. Jesus. Beheads him.
Well, I like it that it's like the implication is just like the guy's powers were only kind of working on Deadpool, but Deadpool was actually being taken in by the words, and then the words stopped being good.
Yeah. What's the father like? So they were talking about the world, and I have no fucking clue what this is. So I'm like, is this like the ball?
The world
has
nothing to do with the Deadlock stuff. The world is Phantom X.
Oh,
the world is like the Matrix kind of thing where Phantom X grew up, or was like raised.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. See,
that's specifically Phantom X shit.
So
that's separate from the Deathlock stuff.
So, okay, because there was like we had like that page or two, like that kind of monologue thing about like
the beginning at the stuff at the beginning. That's all like Phantom X backstory stuff.
Okay, I guess I didn't assume it wasn't Phantom X. I just wasn't sure. I was like waiting for something more solid.
It's only related to the payoff at the very end of this comic.
Okay.
Not the.
I mean, the problem was
not the actual story that's in here.
The problem was they had that monologue stuff going, but then there was Phantom X and like that cyborg thing that comes in later, and I was like, which one are we? Who's talking? Because I without knowing, I'm like, it could be either of you.
Man.
Okay. I mean, it was cool. It was
Robot
cool.
Butler or whatever.
That's the shit that I was doing. But so like, what's his deal? Like it said he's like millions of years or whatever. Is like time different or something? It was talking about like millions.
Yeah,
of
time
years
passes faster in the world. I guess.
Okay, because I mean that's that's the shit I like.
Like basically, you can grow up much quicker because it's a place to, raise a super weapon into being an adult without having them to like actually grow up.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and then the whole the weapon infinity thing, and I was like, what the? I don't know.
Yeah, the weapon infinity is then the Deathlock stuff.
Yeah, so there was like a lot of shit being balanced, and then we saw the thing at the end,
and they have the setup for what like the whole idea of the weapon program, which I always forget that Captain America is Weapon 1. That's like the weapon program is the idea of like recreating the super soldier.
Okay.
And then it's really a thing because Wolverine is Weapon X. That's like one of his classic nom de plumes or whatever. So then Phantom X is Weapon 13.
Okay. I mean, this just sounds like Dragon Ball bullshit. All these androids, all these weapons running around.
Yeah. And then, these Deathlocks from the future, they just get called Weapon Infinity, because why not?
Yeah, sure. It sounds cool, man.
Yeah. The important thing is that it's a dark future coming back to try and kill them, to maintain itself, its own dark future.
Yeah.
That's like a recurring story in X-Men comics.
Oh, we also
Days of Future Past kind of stuff.
We also jumped to some stuff with like Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess that it felt like I should have been reading something previously that they were doing. Kinda. I don't know. At first I thought we were I thought we were picking up like immediately from where Volume 1 left off, and that was not the case. So it took I don't know, this one was a little more disorienting, I think. Not necessarily in a bad way, but just I was staying on my toes,
Mm-hmm. I didn't give you any was pointing out every little fucking detail.
This guy needs to. The dude with wings can fly. Don't fucking worry. Don't fucking worry about what the world is.
Yeah, no. He wanted to learn about Phantomex. Here, read about Phantomex.
I was thinking about
like, so I think the difference why that happens is like my brain just triggers on letting you in on things I knew before I went on the story, but I didn't fucking know anything about Phantomex when I read this comic, so
sure. Okay.
Like I went in like these were the first comics I ever read with Phantomex, so.
Oh, okay. I see.
And I haven't he hasn't been in too much other than Uncanny X-Force that I've read really even. So
maybe we gotta dig. Yeah, I forget if I mentioned
again. The problem is the comics he's from are like,
yeah,
that's a whole even bigger thing, deeper thing to dive into.
Yeah. I mean, that's always how it is, right?
Yeah.
I forget if I mentioned it last time, but I was thinking about it the other day. Something reminded me of of you like telling me about Angel, Archangel, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, I was like, you know what? There was literally a panel where it was like dude looking in a mirror and seeing like the evil version of himself. Like it was. I feel like I definitely would have gotten it. I don't know. I forget. I don't think I mentioned that last time, but yeah, I was just like, come on. Not that like, I mean, even having no information on like the world and stuff, it's not like it was relevant. Knowing about it wouldn't have made it doesn't affect this exact plot.
No, it's more about this is more stuff for the next story and explaining what's happening in like the last panel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the last panel? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have no idea what the hell that is. Is that Apocalypse?
That is a little kid Apocalypse in a tank. Sitting in the world.
Why the fuck is? Oh, I thought that. Wait, is the laboratory in the world?
The world is like a Matrix world. That's why he's got the helmet thing on, because he's plugged into the world.
Okay, but other people were in there. Did they also have? I'm confused. Slightly, because everybody else was in there too, right? Or is that? Because he expanded the world.
Yeah.
He like expands the world and then they like flop in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just at the end, like if he had the thing on. Because I remember the cyborg thing shows up and like annihilates somebody. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Go back to the laboratory. Your duty is to keep the laboratory safe. Like it needs to be secure. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like maybe he phased in or something. I don't really question it.
It might be in virtual reality in the world. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It might be in a Matrix world inside.
But like the shot at the end I assumed was.
But that's also like what the Deathlocks are here. They're here to kill Apocalypse, actually. That's the thing they're actually here to do, to secure their own future.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So like, Phantomex is trying to keep that secret from his teammates. Also, that's why like at the end they were like the place they were trying to get into. He's like, don't worry about it. There's nothing to see in there. And then like the basically the camera pokes in and you see. Fucking Apocalypse in a tank.
Yeah,
Apocalypse.
So I mean, I guess if it's a thing that would in theory be like revealed pretty quick,
Yeah, it's
Like,
in the
don't-
next story.
Okay.
It's like it's a big part of the next story, which I can either tell you or we can read that story.
I mean, I'm thinking because like I could read it. it's I'm almost in this weird point. I feel like if we do the third volume,
If we do the third
there.
one, we would probably read like two volumes, because it's a 2-part story, just to be done with Uncanny X-Force, because that's kind of like the main part of this book.
I mean, like honestly, I'm good to do that. I think.
Okay,
Like
we can
I
just do
think
that then.
after doing 2 volumes and like especially the end of this one, like it has my attention, and like just Apocalypse being cool. Like I wanna see how that pans out. So like I'd be down to do 2 volumes to like kind of wrap that up, and then or wrap up that story and then bump into whatever else.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan, because this story really does feel like Deathlock Saga is fun, but the main thrust of it is kind of setting up the next thing, as much as anything.
I like it's good.
And
I mean,
also like
this
getting a bunch of Phantom X being himself.
Hell yeah, man. And this shit was it was solid. I think you said it's a different artist than Volume 1, right? Or did Volume 1 also have a bunch of different artists?
Yeah, the artist from Volume 1 will come back in the next part, but
okay. Because it's not like the art was bad or anything, but it didn't catch me as much as yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is like one of those things of like putting in another artist so that the real artist can do the story that matters.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that I found like pretty interesting, like Deathstrike, that was her name, right?
Yeah, Lady Deathstrike.
That was pretty cool. Cool little bit.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember if we had that at all in the other volume, and I don't really think we had it here, but like Logan given the whole like there's nothing I fear or whatever. There's one thing, and it's this woman or whatever, because like
sure
she not blames him, but like wants to kill him to restore her family's honor with like the adamantium and stuff. I'm like, that's cool, and like she's a badass. That's neat. She fucking dipped into she uploaded her consciousness and bailed. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's the 5.1 issue.
Okay.
So that's why it's like sort of not in the.
It feels like
it's like trying to be standalone in a way that the other issues aren't.
Gotcha. Okay,
It's
that
like
that
it's
explains a lot.
It's like a way for people to jump on or whatever, I think is the idea. Which is not consistent across the 0.1 line. Some 0.1s were just the next issue, and some were because comics. So I couldn't remember which kind this was.
Yeah.
But this is the just a separate story kind of deal.
Yeah. No, it was like it's still good shit. Like I like the enemy concept for this, and like the design. Like having like evil cyborg versions of like the heroes and shit is pretty cool. As someone who I haven't really encountered that shit, so I'm like, oh man, like that's Captain America, but he's all fucked up. That's cyborg. That's like evil cyborg Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They got in a fist fight. Like, that shit was pretty cool. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that like leapt out. I mean, I guess this stuff with Psylocke being what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like before they're going in,
telling her brother
she killed a kid.
Yeah, she assassinated a child.
He's like, I can't condone it. Yeah, I can't condone it, but like I understand. Yeah, that whole thing. But then like when she was like, was that in 5.1 when she like gets her revenge or whatever, and she like talks about how she was way too gleeful about killing and how she wouldn't have done that previously, and like just the shit that they've had to go through and how it's like straining them and kind of causing them to break their morality a bit.
Being
and shit.
a fucking assassin, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. And that shit's good. I feel like it feels like maybe I would like at some point to just kind of get the base, you know? Like we're at
Sure.
for when this was made, like, yeah, okay, we got to start talking about like the morality of just like killing stuff because it's not black and white. But I feel like I haven't gotten enough of the black and white things yet, you know? Like, just, yeah, this is a baddie. We're going to fucking blop him or something.
I mean, I presented you that Doctor Doom Storm story.
I mean, Doctor Doom is just like fucking good though. I could do some Doctor Doom. Always down for a little Doom, man.
Yeah, that's the thing is like it's the base of X-Men kind of isn't black and white ever though.
Yeah,
also,
that makes sense.
Like it's not just like, I mean, it is, I guess, if you go back to like original X-Men. Well, but nobody cares about that.
I don't even necessarily mean like just X-Men, but like just the, you know,
of superhero stuff, like comics.
Yeah,
stuff?
just like just watching the cool hero do their shit.
You know, Ben, I also would like just there to be more comics that are just that. God, they're just like it is not inaccurate to say there's so much of the dark heroes stuff that is oversaturated. As much like I'm sick of that shit in a lot of cases. Like, you know, you could do it well. Like this, I think does it well. But also, like, in general, I am, like, it's like why I like watching fucking Sailor Moon, because it's like, they're just fucking heroes, and they do the hero shit, and it's not, they don't have to fucking be, it's not like the Marvel TV stuff or movies where they have to be, like, ashamed of it slightly also. They can just be earnest about it.
Yeah, man. No, it's, I could see now, like, how this would just be exhausting.
Yeah, when it's just this all the time, you're like,
okay. Why is everybody miserable?
Yeah.
You can fucking fly. Why are you sad?
Or like if you're going like multiple years without the Justice League fighting a supervillain, they just like fight themselves.
Ugh. Yeah, no, that would.
You're just like, what if they just fought Starro? What if you just gave me that story instead of like showing one page, and then say, yeah, that happened off screen or whatever. It's like, fuck you. Give me the fun story. Like... Let me see them all turn into a giant mech.
And that's like, I kind of want like the story style of like some of the older shit that we've read, right, where it's not so grim and like depressing, but without being told what Galactus's helmet does 6 times on the same panel. But like, I want that modern take. Yeah, no, I now like I totally understand what you mean, because you've talked about this before, and I don't know. I just think we haven't read as much back to back, maybe, or like we did like a lot of Venom. And that, but that's like kind of anti-hero shit. So it's like, yeah, sure, but now it's just very We killed the kid, man. What do we do? Who are we?
Who are we, though?
We're Ben and Hank.
Hell yeah.
The podcast.
The thing I kind of like about the mainline X-Men thing here is like the main thrust of what Cyclops is doing is him like slowly he's like him sort of becoming a Magneto kind of supervillain, but slowly, and he's not like torn up about it really. He's just like, this is just what we got to do. Got to form our militant state, and then because the world is evil.
Look, man, there's nothing better when it comes to government than a benevolent dictator. Key word is the benevolent. Without that bit, it's all for naught. But, I have a hunch that we don't get many of those in comics. Yeah. Can't set your shit up and have it just work.
What are you talking about? Doom is the most benevolent dictator.
Of
All
course.
his subjects love him, according to him.
I mean, that's, like what he seems like a trustworthy dude. He's a doctor.
He's a doctor. You can trust him.
Anyway. Yeah, so I'm down to do the next 2 volumes. Wrap up.
Okay,
our
X-Force we'll wrap this
stuff.
up and then maybe find something a little more
fun, or just like roll into whatever.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how you're feeling after that, and I'll think about stuff. saltcirclepod@gmail.com. Salt Circle Podcast on Twitter. Did I get those backwards? Now my brain's broken.
Oh,
Too much.
I don't know.
Anchor.fm/Salt Circle. It's in the show. The correct information is in the show description. I'm on Twitter at Comic Panels.
Oh,